Do we have to say everything all over again? I hope not.
Go
All right,
ahead.
next slide. So one of the questions that we get a lot is why a degree in social and human services? And as you know, with Seattle, but King County, but our nation, there's a lot of need for social services right now and will continue to be so. Just recently, the fire department will now be hiring social service specialists to go out on some of their calls, for instance. That is one that is in need. And then there's also substance abuse and mental health and youth services. So I just kind of want to ask a question real quick, and you can put your response in chat. But what would be some jobs or population or interest that you would have in working with social services? And I'll give you a couple minutes if you want to just put in there, whether it be youth, homeless youth, LGBTQ population, mental health, um, clinic social workers, school social work. So if you can, just write in mental health. Okay, thank you. We have one mental health. SPS, mental health. Great. Chemical dependency. Yes, we do have a lot of students in our programs that actually get their bachelor's degree along with their chemical dependency state licensures. So those are great responses. Thank you. So a degree in social and human services will help you develop the skills. So a lot of our classes are skill based. You with COVID and us offering a lot of classes on Zoom, we do break out in breakout rooms and practice some of these skills that we teach you. So usually half of the class is lecture and just giving you the basics, and then you kind of practice these skills. The high demand right now, as I just said, is social and family and human services. So the children's administration is a big one, always, and chemical dependency, mental health, corrections. So you could either be probation officer, discharge planner, youth probation, or work in youth probation services, community development advocacy. So everything may not be just working one-on-one with somebody, but really doing some policy advocacy work. All types of mental health services, rehabilitation services. So working in some of the either adult family homes or um, nursing homes, they require social service discharge and intake and continual services. Substance abuse, we talked about that. There's also a need with substance abuse high school. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of Recovery High School. That is one that hopefully there'll be more Recovery High School, but they're also doing a lot of what we call secondary prevention in high schools, and many of you would maybe heard of this organization. It's WAPI. They come into high schools and middle schools, and they do groups with youth who are using, but we don't want them to get to the addiction. Homeless and housing services, so street outreach. I'm sure you've seen those tents all around the city of Seattle. Well, we do have outreach workers that go out and try to engage people into services and into shelters or permanent housing. Talked about child welfare and other youth programs. And also there's positive youth programs. So things like Girls on the Run, if any of you heard of Girls on the Run. There's also outdoor wilderness programs for youth. So really looking at prevention. Services for aging adults, so senior centers, doing activities with seniors and aging services. Right now with COVID going on, there's a lot of, yes, the field of social services is really broad. Um, So right now with COVID, there is a lot of senior services that are even offered nationwide, right? So you can pick up a Zoom from some event going on in Florida or Washington, DC, things like that, that social workers are involved in. Entry requirements for the program is obviously high school diploma, GED, and admissions to Seattle Central College. All of our programs are offered either on campus or hybrid, using the Zoom or one time a week. Most of them are one time a week. You'll be studying topics such as what is human services and who we serve and how we serve them. Counseling skills, a lot of counseling skill classes. We want our graduates to be able to, what we call, get a job right out the door. Drug prevention and addiction, that is one of our core classes for anybody in our human services, is understanding drug prevention and what causes addiction. We do have, throughout our class, we kind of offer social change and issues on social justice. A lot of students take and get and receive their patient care navigation certificate, which is a two courses, and you get this this one certificate. So some of the things about what we offer is you can actually build some certificates as you're getting your AA degree. A lot of our faculty have extensive experience and background on working in the field of human services, from aging to youth services. Many of our current faculty work in the field and teach hands-on knowledge. So as for myself, I have years of experience working in all types of field: domestic violence, perpetrators and victims, chemical dependency, mental health, homeless, outreach, and also medical social work. Some of our other faculty are currently working in substance abuse, aging, just numerous backgrounds. So you really get that one hand, just not just somebody who's teaching the course, but somebody who's also in the field at the same time. So I just talked about the add-on certificates, and we do offer the chemical dependency add-on certificate and the care navigation. So to meet the chemical dependency specialist certificate, it aligns with the Department of Health licensure. And then the care navigation and coordination certificate, like I said, it's 2 classes. One of the things you can do with that is be a liaison between clients or patients, if you're in the medical field, and help them coordinate through the insurance is one of the biggest. So a lot of insurance companies do hire care navigation, people with care navigation certificates, and they work from home, answer phones, help people navigate through the insurance mess. And you're talking about either Social Security insurance or Apple insurance, any one of those. One of the things that we do offer is what we call 2+2 or educational pathways. And part of this, and I'll let Melissa explain this a little bit further, but you can get your AAST degree in human services and optional get one or both of those certificates, and then move directly into our applied Bachelor's of Science program, which is 2 more years. So you can kind of just don't think of it as just coming to the Seattle Central just for a 2-year degree, but you could also come here to get the 4-year degree. And many of our students with a bachelor's degree do go on into getting a master's in social work or public health, or I know there's somebody who just went in for child psychology. So that all of the universities will accept our bachelor's degree. So Melissa, go and take it away.
I think this is still on SHS.
Oh, this is still mine. How long is the program for SHS? It's usually 6 quarters, or part-time, it would be 7+ quarters. Like I said, it's either hybrid in person, one time a week. Right now, we're doing all Zoom meeting one time a week. We do offer some online and self-paced courses. Typically, our students do like the hybrid, which is meeting one time a week per course. A lot of people work and have other things going on in their life, so just meeting one time a week. Typically, the start would be fall or winter. Classes may vary from morning, midday, afternoon, and evening. When we're talking about that, it would be at 8:30, um, and then midday, noon, or 10 o'clock, and then afternoon, usually 3 o'clock, and then evening at 6. Students are required to complete a field practicum internship, which often leads to employment in the field of human services. So I do the field practicum internship, and a lot of agencies really like our students. Feedback has been that our students are prepared to actually start in many jobs, and that's why they're willing to hire them even while they're doing their field practicum. Your field practicum could be anywhere from food banks to actually doing chemical dependency counseling, working with youth. Right now, I have people at Orion Center, youth care, inpatient, adolescent boys, substance abuse. I have somebody over at the Library for the Blind. I have just kind of everywhere. So it really kind of depends on what your interest is and to bridge that connection. Graduates can be pre-accepted to the bachelor's program, the Applied Behavioral Science program at Central. Any questions so far? I want to kind of give people some time. I know I tend to talk. My students tell me I talk really quick. So just want to give you a minute, write any questions, or if you have any statements or concerns. None? Okay. So field practice placements have led to jobs at ACRS, Center for Human Services, that's in Shoreline. Um, and they were doing middle school groups and individual counseling. And one of them actually got hired by the city of Seattle, and is now doing contracts. So not doing face-to-face, but it led her to a job that she really wanted to do. DESC, which is Downtown Emergency Service Center. Evergreen Treatment Center, which primarily does methadone treatment. Low-income housing services, so being housing case managers. Neighborhood House has a ton of different programs. Recovery Helpline, so even with COVID, we do have some students working from their home and are answering phones for both Recovery Helpline and or Crisis Clinic. I actually do now have a student doing the teen text line, and I don't know if any of you heard of the teen text line that teens can text in there, and that's how they communicate is through texting. CMAR, Sound Health Services, and that's primarily mental health and substance abuse services. Wells Springs, Boys and Girls Club. I have a couple of students that did theirs in Kirkland and Wallingford. Yeah, if you've never heard of the teen, somebody just texted, put in the chat, text line for teens. You could actually go to the Crisis Clinic website and they have the teen line there, and you can actually volunteer if you're interested in getting more information. Cowitz Tribal Health and they both do mental health and work within the Native American community. DSHS, King County Human Services. NAMI, if you're not familiar with NAMI, it is the National Association of Mental Illness. We do have a Washington chapter. New Beginnings Domestic Violence Program, so being domestic violence advocates. REWA, Seattle Job Initiative. WAPI, which I talked about, which is Washington Asian Pacific Islanders, and they mostly do the South End students. Franklin High School, or even middle schools. And again, that would be secondary prevention, going in, talking with students, doing groups. Youth care, working with homeless youth and doing housing. They also have a program there that works with commercially sexually exploited youth. and kind of help them get out of the streets and into apartments. And they also work with pregnant youth and finding homes and apartments for them. So the average salary for associate degree students are $20 to $30 an hour. With a bachelor's degree, it's $30 to $40 an hour. If you are interested in any, you can just go to Indeed and just put in, social work jobs, human service jobs, youth case managers, and you will be able to see all the jobs that's available and the need for people to get in work in this field.
Thank you, Edwyna. So I'm going to move on to talk about the bachelor's degree program that we offer at Seattle Central College. As Edwyna mentioned a little earlier about our pathway, it is the pathway. I'll go back to that for a second here. So it is an associate's degree. That is one of our eligibility requirements. So that's why it is this educational pathway where you start off with this associate's degree. It is a 2-year program, 90 credits, and then that will make you eligible for the bachelor's degree in applied behavioral science, and then that would be an additional 2 years, 90 credits. So that's why we work really closely together, just because our bachelor's degree kind of builds off of that associate's degree. So when our degree specifically, and the reason why I say it kind of builds off of the social and human services program is because this degree is really going to help you qualify for positions of greater scope and responsibility in those same fields of social and human services. So this is going to qualify you for, positions where you can be a director or a manager or a supervisor. And so kind of moving yourself more in those administrative positions and higher positions within those agencies. So you could be, you could have your bachelor's degree and be like a director in social services, mental health counseling agencies, early childhood, child welfare, family support, corrections and youth empowerment programs, chemical dependency, and policy and advocacy. These are just some areas. And then again, our average wage is like $30 to $40 an hour. We only offer this program at Seattle Central College. We were the very first, this bachelor's degree was the very first bachelor's degree in this field in a community college in the state of Washington. Our program was established in 2009. So we have hundreds and hundreds of graduates already who have gone through our program. And so we are currently in our 11th year of offering this degree. So again, our entry requirements is completing that associate's degree in social and human services. So that's kind of a little bit of the difference between a BAS degree in the community colleges and the kind of the traditional bachelor's degree at a university, is that this is kind of an applied degree. So you're going to be applying what you're learning in the classroom because you are going to be required to do field placements, kind of like internships like Edwyna had talked about also in the associate's degree program. So not only will you be graduating with a bachelor's degree, but you will be graduating with an additional 6 months of that experience on your resume, where you're not only telling an employer that you're demonstrating that you're also demonstrating that you know how to do this work by not only having the degree. A lot of times our students also end up getting job offers from those field placement opportunities, just like they do in the associate's degree. So a lot of our students do continue to kind of work where their field placements were at. This is a full-time 6-quarter program. If you do it part-time, it is 7 quarters or more. We are currently doing hybrid courses. So they usually, when it wasn't COVID, we did hybrid in person. So one day of the week was in person, the rest of it was online. Right now we are currently doing virtual Zoom, or we're also moving to possibly all online. We're not quite there yet. The cohort model, we operate in a cohort model, so which means that all of the students who get admitted in the same quarter, usually we start in the fall, they all take the same bachelor's classes together. So you build this learning community. It's a best practice in higher ed. And so all of our classes are evening classes. As I mentioned, a lot of our students that are coming out of the Social and Human Services associate's degree do end up getting job offers sometimes from their field practicum experiences. So they already have jobs as they're entering the bachelor's program, which is why it's designed as an evening program, because it's really designed around the working adults. So typically our classes are from 6 to 8:30 p.m. Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. Then I just mentioned the field practicum internship component to our program. And then also our program is a pathway, our bachelor's degree program is a pathway for students who are interested in getting master's degrees. So many of our students, we are the top BAS program in the state that has students going on to graduate programs and getting master's degrees. Many of our students are getting degrees in and out of state. I would say that most of our students are getting accepted to the University of Washington's Masters of Social Work program. That is it's the third most competitive in the country. So it says a lot about the education that our students are getting in our program, because they are getting accepted into those programs. However, we also are getting students that go to Seattle U, City U, Fordham University in New York, Cal State. I've had students go to University of Hawaii, Manoa, USC. And it's in various fields, not just social work. We have students that go on to get policy degrees because they want to work more at that macro level, doing more of that, change at the higher level, and more policy change work. I have students who go on and get, degrees in psychology and counseling because they want to be, open their own practice. I have students who go on and get master's degrees in nonprofit leadership because they want to open their own nonprofit organizations. So it's really broad what you can do with this degree. And so it's really exciting that we're able to offer this type of opportunity at Seattle Central College.
So one of the questions here, Melissa, is will these online attendance options for this program continue after Central goes back to in-person? I think that's still being discussed because we really don't know. But we may, in some cases, do a in-person and a Zoom availability for some students, but that's still in the discussion phase right now.
Yes, Edwina is correct. It's possible that we may be going back to in-person in the fall, but more than likely, as again, according, whatever happens with just the Department of Health and what they're allowing us to do at the college, more than likely, it seems like we may be going back to hybrid in-person, maybe in the winter. So just some, Edwina, do you want to talk about this section?
So a lot of times we get, why come here, right? Why come here to Seattle Central College versus going to university or UW or other places? Is one, it's affordability. So our bachelor's program is really affordable, and I'm not quite sure what the numbers are. Maybe Melissa knows if it's a half or a third of the university. But I do know currently our AAST degree is about $100 to $125 a credit, which is pretty affordable, right? And some of you may be.
Yeah, and the bachelor's degree is about double what the associate's degree is.
So, which is cheaper still than the university. We offer small class size and a cohort model. Not everybody is in that cohort because we do have, part-time students or, here and there students. But the small class size, and what we mean by small class size is about 20 is about the average of a class size, 20 to 25. Our faculty and our students are very diverse in many ways. You may not always have that at a university or at other places. We are Central Seattle, so up on Capitol Hill. So yeah, having that student support and resources. We have a designated person for our library So many of my students in my classes just go directly to that person and not have to worry about who they're seeing or walking into a library for research, so on. Our librarian actually comes to many of our classes to introduce herself, but also to do these small tutorials for students. Student support. Students have said that faculty and or staff respond back to their emails within 24 hours. Um, and when we don't, they're kind of worried about us. So we definitely build a rapport with our students. Some of our students have said that our faculty and staff are concerned and interested in our well-being. We're treated as a person, not just as a student. The curriculum of interest and always current issues, not just textbook information, and you all know what that means. The cohort style is very supportive. We do have some people meet after class here and there, just meeting on Zoom, whatever they want, but there is support. If you have any questions regarding admissions or advising, we're holding an advising session, I guess, today at 4:30 to 5. But here's an email that you may want to jot down. It is ed-humanserve.central@seattlecolleges.edu. You can also find this email on our website. So the person that